Welcome back, freebies. This is hashtag set free with Nikki T. And today we want to talk about loneliness and how some of the loneliness issues that I'll share with you and how I was able to deal with those. Um, I remember growing up, you developed this game called Girl, and it was I collected Barbie dolls, and so I had this collection of dolls, and they became my siblings. They became my best friends. They became um, my cousins and anything imaginary that I could come up with at the time. That's what my dolls presented for me, and so I would use that girl time as like now. This is your girl Nikki T, and I would use that opportunity to just kind of let the loneliness dissipate and whatever else imaginary situation I could come up with. So I would trade off with my little brother, my younger brother, and he had this collection of army men and soldiers, and so we would bite off the hands and the feet of the soldiers, or sometimes even the head, and that would be the casualties of war, so to speak. Any trauma that they experienced, during this wartime. So I had a Ken doll, and of course he would be, Ken, and I would be anybody in the doll collection that I wanted to be at the time. My cousins down the street had all the latest bells and whistles, the dollhouse, the cars, and the boat and everything. And I always had a dollhouse, and I would get a new Barbie to add to the collection. I was very stingy with my dolls. I didn't want anyone to play with my dolls. But if you came down the street to my house to play with me, then you had to bring your dolls with you. So just a little selfish, transparency there. So I'm not really sure if this is when I first noticed that I had a sleepwalking situation, but this would be my first memory of how it transpired during this lonely period in my life. My siblings are 4 to 5 plus years older than me, and then I have other siblings that are 3 to 4 years younger than myself. And I was that middle child, so I was in school by myself. Or my cousins on first cousins on both sides, my parents. I went to school with some of them, so that those became my siblings. Because when growing up where I in Missouri, we were all family. So it wasn't like, oh, well, these are my cousins. No, they became my sisters and brothers because my siblings were a lot older than me or younger than me. So I didn't have anyone to play with, and I remember this one particular time. I, like I said, I went to school by myself, so of course my homework, I did my homework by myself, or my brother was in the basement with me, and he would be doing his homework. So, being 4 years older, of course, we weren't in the same subject matter. So, like I said, some of that loneliness I can remember, as being a child. Um, I witnessed something very traumatizing, apparently, and at my dad's house we were visiting, and a battery situation occurred, and I remember feeling very, very sad, very lonely about it, and I woke up and I must have walked myself through the kitchen area, opened up the back door, and climbed up on the banister and said I could fly and proceeded to jump. And my father caught me, and that's when we realized that I sleepwalked. Well, that's my earliest memory of knowing that I sleepwalked, and I believe that this is part of the trauma um, that transpired in my life. And so, how to deal with that again? Um, I resorted to just playing this imaginary game by myself, talking to myself or pretending to be someone else. I think that a lot of children have imaginary friends. I don't think that is unhealthy. I think it's okay. I mean, I turned out pretty okay, I guess. Um, but I believe that when you're going through something and you're struggling and you're battling with something, um, my suggestion is to definitely speak to someone, that you talk to someone, because you don't want those traumatic situations to replay themselves later on to where they become very, very real. to me, they were imaginary. Um, but some of the things that I imagined during this time, they weren't all good. I got to say that, they were all pleasant. They were not. I did some terrible things um, during this loneliness, during this time of being lonely and with these dolls, where and like I said, with my brothers, soldiers and Indians, biting off the hands and biting off the feet, um, it's not a laughing matter. It's not funny because you find yourself wondering, oh my gosh, that's, those violent tendencies, will I take this any further, or will I, I'm smothering this doll. Am I pretending that I want to smother someone else, or will I, you know, reenact this situation on someone, a live person, because I'm feeling this anger or this frustration or this loneliness in my life. So again, I say, if you are struggling or if you find yourself battling, please speak to someone, reach out to someone and get help. Talk to someone about your situation. You do not have to carry these moments or issues by yourself. There's someone out there that is able to assist you and help you. Again, if it's something that you want to share and you just want to talk about here on the channel at hashtag Set Free with Nikki T, you can reach me on my Instagram page as well. We are at imallconsultinggroup at gmail.com or reachtheworldradio.org. So if you just want to talk to someone else and you just don't feel like if you just want to share your story, that's what this channel was designed for. So back to being lonely, I also witnessed another traumatic situation that happened in my family. And instead of going straight home from school one day, I avoided going home from straight home because my friend had a new doll collection, and I was probably 6 or 7 at the time. Of course, we were latchkey kids, so it was okay. And I walked home with my friend because I was excited to see her doll simply because I didn't want to go home at that particular time. And being raised in a strict home where we had to be home before the lights came on, or shall I say my siblings were, because I was too young. I couldn't even leave my front porch or walk down the street where my cousins lived, whom I went to school with every day, without getting permission to leave the front porch or the steps, where I lived. I couldn't sit on the swing that was actually on my porch, So I I struggled with that. Like I said, it being in these lonely times. So this moment, this situation happened where I was just really feeling really, really bad, and I walked home with this friend because I was excited. I wanted to see her dolls, and I stayed a little too long, not realizing that the lights had come on. And there was this knock at the door, and the knock, when it came, it was very forceful. It was very strong and startling. And when the mother opened up the door, I could hear the officer clearly saying that they were looking for this little girl. They described me, what I was wearing, what I had on, and that feeling in my stomach was like, oh my goodness, what did I do? I knew that there would be trouble waiting for me when I got home. So sure enough, the officer, the lady said, oh, she's here. She's been playing. She's fine. And he told me that I had to gather my school things and proceed with him. And when I got home, my mother was on the stairs. Yes, she was outside, and she was very upset. She was worried. She was nervous. And but being a child at that time, I didn't, have any, remorse for what I did. I was more afraid of what was coming after that. And sure enough, I was discipline heavy. And I remember going to our basement where my brother and I would play and where I did my homework at. And I remember standing in the corner, and we used to have this storage area that they never put anything in. And it was very dark, very cold, very clammy. And I was always afraid of that particular area. I would never go into that area for some strange reason. I always felt like there was something in there or something looking at me every time I was there in the basement. So I proceeded to grab a, I have a fear of spiders, so I have arachnophobia really bad. And I remember grabbing a blanket and covering myself and hiding under this workbench area and just staying there and just being very, very still um, because I just wanted to disappear. I wanted to just vanish, to just go away. And I've never shared that with anyone other than right now in this video that that moment came to where I just felt like I just wish I would disappear. I didn't care how it happened or when it came or what was coming with it. I just didn't want to be here anymore. So I know that loneliness can take you to a very dark space, a very unhappy place in your life, and it can cause you to create imaginary situations that we can reenact those situations out, and it will just be devastating. So I was just say, fortunately, that I was spared, and that I did not have to go into any type of therapy for these imaginary times in my life. However, they're very real and they did happen. So again, I ask you to please, reach out to someone, to speak to someone, and to get help as soon as possible if you feel that you can no longer carry or handle the burdens that you are carrying. So I thank you for watching this video. And again, the links will be below for you to reach out to us if you have any questions that you'd like to ask me, or if it's just something that you want to share. So until we speak again on our next topic, stay free.